Start the video as well. What's up, guys? This is Wednesday, 5th period, and we're talking about our final thing for the quarter, which is the CQA. It's not a test, and it's not some different thing out of nowhere. It's sort of a wrap-up to conclude the stuff we've been working on. And I brought up this example to show I was trying something last class and I got it to work in a different way, but maybe it's going to take too long to load. We'll go elsewhere for now. Okay, so I'm going to post this on the Google Classroom, and it's going to say, hey, write, if I had to give this a title besides CQA, I'd call it a reflection. That's what we use sometimes in English class to say, like, oh, what did you learn from this, and what are we going to use in the future? This is going to be questions, and then you just write normal text answer. You're not writing code or anything for this part, although of course we're still working on our projects, and I have sent more individual feedback to people. So the first thing says, hey, look back at the beginning of the quarter when I said make a sketch, make an idea. Did you live up to that? Did you, capture that idea? Or are you still missing something? Or did you go in a new direction and get a new idea? That's fine. This is not looking for a right or wrong answer. You could say yes or no at the beginning as long as you write a couple sentences to describe. You might say, you know what, I totally changed my idea because I saw an example that I thought was cool and I wanted to follow it. Or, no, I didn't come up with the beginning idea, or I didn't have a good one at the beginning and I just kind of stumbled around until I found one. Or whatever you want, as long as you describe the idea, how you got somewhere, what's going on, what you learned, etc. 2 says, hey, this is like a very quick version of a test. It says, hey, hand your game to somebody in the class or not, and then basically look for 2 things. 1, do they get it right at the beginning? Do they know what to do? Do they recognize what they're supposed to move around and how? And then, once they started it, did it work the way it should? Did they move the guy off screen and then it ran into a game-ending bug? Or maybe they picked it up, so, hey, you know what? This is a breakout game. I get the idea. I'm going to move around, take out some bricks, and maybe it works smoothly. Again, no right or wrong answer. If you say yes, that's fine as long as you describe it. If you say no, that's fine as long as you could say this was a disaster, they didn't get it, the thing crashed in 2 seconds. As long as you have thoughts about it, that's the point of this. Okay, and then the next 3 questions are saying, what is our future ideas? 1, what mechanics do you want to add? Okay, so for example, in the examples of the platformer games, we've got platforms, we jump on them. We made one that bounces you like a spring. We made one that moves like an elevator. But the thing that I've been talking about, the thing that we really want to add is a door or a flag that's like the goal. And what I've said is that I want to make 2 steps. So you have to get a key and then the door. Okay, I might add other stuff too. Enemies, lava, boost spot on the ground that gives you an extra movement or something. But all those are extra. The one that I really need to make it complete is I need that goal, the door, the flag, etc. Okay. Next, what do you want to improve? The stuff you already have, but maybe it's a little janky. For example, the controls. Maybe you have controls that are like, it's mouse control, because that's really easy to do. You just take the coordinate. But maybe you say, I want to switch it to keyboard to make it a little more precise. Like you go step by step. For example, one of you guys is doing like a Frogger type game where you move and you have to avoid obstacles. And right now it moves smoothly just at any sort of, analog type. But I think it might be nice if you kind of like snap to the grid, like you move one chunk, one one chunk, and then it's a little more easy to track whether you're in the path of danger or whether you're not, etc. And then finally, what do you think about the visuals? Okay, next quarter, we're going to add some visuals, and it really depends on what type of game. If your game is in space, well then you're probably going to keep the background black and not change that. Maybe add a couple, dots for stars or something. But if your game is a platformer, you probably want green grass and a blue sky. And maybe not. Maybe you're in a lava cave or something. Or if your game is like puzzly abstract blocks and stuff, well, it could be anything you want because it's not representing a real visual. It's fantasy. So you could say, well, I'm going to make my blocks have a little shiny border, and then when you hit them that cracks, and then when you hit them again they really go away. Who knows? I was talking about the platformer. I thought it might be cool if like your guy changes color to represent status, like when you have a key then you turn green to show that you can go through the green door or whatever. We can do that and represent things visually, which by the way is really our goal. I don't want to have to put text on screen and say like, here's your HUD and here's how many points you have and all that. We can, of course, but it's nice to represent things with visuals, icons, simple stuff. And that is the CQA. Okay, take your time. I've thought about making this a Google form where you could fill in the spots, but then I thought I don't want you to do it in one sitting. I don't want you to just sit down and put them all and hit enter. I want you to like open a doc, add a little bit, come back later, add a little bit more. Okay, we've got over a week because this is due at the end of the quarter, and this should be, a big deal. There's something you think about. So take your time, write a little bit. If you turn it in before the end, I might send it back and say, hey, change this a little, clarify this, add something to this. If you turn it in at the end, well, it's too late, but you'll be fine if you take your time, give a little explanation. Again, I'll say this one more, and I'll end the video before it gets too long. This is not about right or wrong answers. You could say something negative for every step. You could say, you know what, I didn't get my original idea. The person I handed it to test didn't really figure it out. I don't have the good collision working. And you could say all kinds of no's for your answers, as long as you follow it up and you say, but here's what I think I need. Here's what I'm going to aim for. I can't do all these million ideas, but I'm going to pick one and really nail that part down. I can't do a million visuals because I'm going to be figuring out the basics, but I'm going to give it green grass and blue sky. That kind of stuff is perfectly fine as long as you have a little bit of thought behind it, description, etc. So I will, our viewer number changed, but we're fine. And I always look at the chat. We usually don't have questions in the chat, but you can, of course, type that. So I'm going to post this. I'm going to end the video, and I will continue to look at your individual stuff. Like I said, over the last few days, I sent people a few videos or comments to say, here's what you need, here's what I recommend, here's what works, here's what doesn't. But that's, that is individual. So if you haven't seen it, let me know or submit your newest thing, whatever. See you guys. Okay, that